Welcome to Sleepy Scientific Secrets, a quiet corner where we leave the noise of the day behind and gently uncover the hidden wonders of our world. Tonight, we begin a fascinating exploration. Beneath quiet soil and scattered leaves, entire cities breathe without a sound. Ant colonies move in gentle patterns guided by chemical whispers called pheromones. Invisible trails laid upon the ground that tell others where food waits and where paths are safe. Each ant following a message that fades slowly like a scent carried on a drifting breeze. And as you rest here, listening, you might imagine how even the smallest signals can guide a journey without hurry. Within these living cities, no single ant understands the whole. Yet together they build structures with careful precision, chambers for nurseries, tunnels for airflow, storage rooms for future meals. This quiet engineering emerges from simple rules followed patiently by thousands of individuals, like grains of sand arranging themselves into patterns shaped by time. And it is gentle to consider how order can rise from many small and patient actions. If tonight's exploration felt like a peaceful escape, you can let me know with a like or stay longer by subscribing. Either way, I'm grateful you're here. And if you feel like sharing, I'd love to know. What quiet corner of the world is listening along? Ants also practice a form of farming that has existed for millions of years. Some species gather pieces of leaves not to eat them, but to grow fungus in underground gardens, carefully feeding and protecting this crop as their primary food source, tending it with steady attention like silent gardeners beneath the forest floor. And this patient care reminds us how life often depends on cooperation with unseen partners. Communication inside the colony goes beyond trails on the ground. Ants touch antennae in brief meetings that pass information through subtle chemical signals. They recognize nest mates by scent and respond to strangers with caution. Each encounter a quiet exchange of identity carried in molecules too small to see. And there is something calming in knowing that recognition can happen without words. When danger approaches, ants shift their behavior together almost instantly. Workers become defenders, pathways change, and the colony adapts as if guided by a shared awareness. This collective response is not commanded. It simply emerges from many small reactions flowing together, like ripples across still water joining into a single moving pattern. And the thought of such harmony can feel strangely reassuring as the mind begins to drift. Some ants measure distance by counting their own steps as they walk, tiny internal pacing that helps them return home even after winding journeys. Experiments have shown that when their legs are gently lengthened or shortened, their sense of distance changes in quiet and predictable ways, like travelers who trust the rhythm of their stride more than the shape of the road. And it is soothing to imagine navigation guided by nothing more than patient repetition in darker chambers below the surface. Larvae are moved carefully from place to place as temperature shifts through the day. Workers carry them toward warmer walls or cooler tunnels to keep development steady. This constant relocation forms a slow dance guided by heat and touch. like sunlight drifting across a floor that no one can see. And the idea of such gentle attention feels almost like a silent form of care. Some species form living bridges using their own bodies, linking legs and holding still while others walk across them, turning themselves into architecture whenever a gap interrupts the path, when the crossing is complete. The bridge quietly dissolves back into moving individuals, like a thought forming and fading in a resting mind. And there is comfort in knowing that even temporary shapes can serve a shared purpose. Ant colonies also maintain waste chambers placed far from nurseries and food stores. Specific tunnels where debris and the bodies of the fallen are carried with deliberate care. This separation reduces disease and keeps the colony healthy through simple spatial order, like rooms in a house arranged with calm intention. And it invites a gentle reflection on how small habits can protect larger systems. In certain forests, ants partner with trees that offer hollow thorns as shelter. In return, the ants defend the tree from grazing animals and creeping vines, a quiet alliance where both lives are strengthened without words. Leaves rustle above while chambers hum below. And this partnership feels like a conversation written in movement and patience, continuing softly as the colony breathes beneath the earth. Continuing softly as the colony breathes beneath the earth. Some ants keep careful track of time using internal rhythms that match the cycle of light and darkness. Their activity rises and falls in patterns that repeat each day, even when sunlight is hidden. Like a quiet clock carried inside a body no larger than a grain of rice. And it is calming to imagine life guided by gentle cycles rather than hurried moments within the deeper chambers. Certain workers specialize in caring for the queen and rarely leave her side. They feed her, clean her, and carry away her eggs to nurseries where others will tend them. This division of roles allows the colony to function with steady reliability, like instruments in an orchestra playing without a conductor. And the harmony arises from attention rather than command. Ants can also learn from experience and remember successful routes to food sources. Studies show that individuals improve their efficiency over repeated journeys, choosing shorter paths and avoiding obstacles with growing familiarity. Like travelers who remember landmarks in a landscape shaped by memory. And there is a gentle reassurance in knowing that even tiny minds can adapt through quiet repetition. When floods threaten their nests, some species gather together into living rafts, linking legs and floating as a single mass upon the water surface. Air trapped between their bodies keeps them buoyant for days if needed, drifting calmly until they reach dry ground once more, like leaves resting together on a slow-moving stream. And this image carries a softness that feels almost weightless. In open fields and forests, ants influence the soil itself through constant digging and transport of tiny particles. Their tunnels allow air and moisture to move more freely underground, improving conditions for roots and microorganisms without intention. Like quiet gardeners shaping the land through steady motion. And the thought of such unnoticed impact feels strangely comforting, as attention continues to wander gently forward. As attention continues to wander gently forward, some ants practice a form of herding by caring for small insects called aphids. They protect them from predators and gently tap them with antennae to collect sweet droplets of honey-dew. This steady exchange provides food while the aphids remain unharmed, like quiet livestock tended beneath leaves where sunlight filters through in soft patterns. And the image carries a calm sense of balance between lives. In sandy regions, certain ants navigate using the position of the sun and patterns of polarized light in the sky. Even when clouds hide direct rays, their eyes detect subtle cues that guide them across open ground without landmarks, like sailors reading invisible maps drawn across the air. And there is something soothing in trusting guidance that cannot be seen directly. Within crowded tunnels, traffic flows with surprising order as ants follow simple movement rules. Those carrying food often take one side while empty travelers use another, reducing collisions and keeping motion steady in narrow spaces, like gentle streams moving past each other without mixing. And this quiet coordination feels almost like a rhythm you could listen to if the earth were silent enough. Some species store seeds inside dry chambers where they remain protected for long periods. Forgotten seeds sometimes sprout when conditions change and moisture reaches them. Tiny plants emerging from places shaped by insect activity long before, like small gardens growing from patient storage. And it invites a soft reflection on how unintended actions can nurture new life. In rare moments after rain, winged ants rise together into the air in what is known as a nuptial flight. Males and queens leave their nests to mate high above the ground before drifting back to begin new colonies. Wings are shed once the journey ends, and a different life begins underground. Like brief thoughts lifting into the sky before settling again into stillness. And this quiet cycle continues as the soil holds countless beginnings hidden from view. And this quiet cycle continues as the soil holds countless beginnings hidden from view. Some ants possess the ability to recognize the chemical traces of illness within their colony when a member carries infection. Others gently move it away from shared chambers to reduce the spread of disease. This behavior acts like a natural form of quarantine, guided only by scent, like a soft boundary drawn in air that no one can see. And it offers a calm sense of protection woven into daily life. In shaded forests, certain ants follow long seasonal routes that change with the availability of food. Their paths shift across the landscape through memory and collective experience, creating temporary highways that fade when no longer needed, like footsteps in sand slowly erased by wind. And the thought of movement guided by seasons feels quietly patient. Some ants produce faint sounds by rubbing parts of their bodies together, vibrations that travel through soil and leaf litter rather than air. These signals can alert others to danger or call for assistance nearby, like whispers carried through the ground instead of spoken aloud. And it is gentle to imagine communication moving through Earth itself. Within certain colonies, older workers often take on more dangerous tasks outside the nest while younger ones remain inside. This age-based division reduces risk to those who still have long roles ahead, a pattern shaped by survival rather than instruction. Like autumn leaves drifting outward while new buds stay sheltered. And there is something quietly thoughtful in this natural arrangement. Ants also adjust the size of their entrances depending on weather and humidity, narrowing openings during dry heat to conserve moisture, widening them when cool air allows better ventilation. This simple architectural change maintains stable conditions below ground, like windows opened and closed with careful timing. And the colony continues its patient life beneath the surface as unseen rhythms guide every small motion. As unseen rhythms guide every small motion. Some ants mark dangerous locations with special warning pheromones that differ from food trails. These chemical signals cause others to slow down or turn away without confusion, like quiet signs placed along a path that only certain travelers can read. And the simplicity of this guidance feels calm and deliberate. In grasslands and forests, ants often follow the edges of natural lines such as fallen branches or stones. This behavior helps them navigate efficiently by reducing the need for constant searching. Like walkers who prefer the outline of a riverbank instead of open ground. And it is gentle to imagine travel shaped by the quiet contours of the world. Some species practice a remarkable behavior known as tandem running, where one experienced ant leads a single follower to a new nest or food source, moving slowly so the learner can memorize the route step by step, like a patient guide showing a friend the way through a familiar landscape. And there is something deeply soothing in this careful sharing of knowledge. Ant colonies can also merge or compete depending on how closely related their chemical signatures are. If scents are similar enough, strangers may be accepted into the group without conflict, like distant relatives recognizing something familiar in each other. And this subtle form of identification feels almost like memory carried in the air, beneath layers of soil. Ants sometimes create ventilation shafts that reach different depths. Warm air rises through these channels while cooler air is drawn inward, maintaining a stable climate below ground without conscious design, like breath moving slowly through hidden passages. And the colony continues its quiet existence as these natural currents flow gently through the earth. And the colony continues its quiet existence as these natural currents flow gently through the earth. Some ants use landmarks in combination with scent trails to improve their navigation over time. They remember the shape of stones and the angle of light between plants, building a layered map that blends memory with chemistry. Like travelers who recall both the road and the feeling of the journey. And this layered awareness feels calm and patient. In certain environments, ants adjust their foraging times to avoid predators and extreme temperatures, moving mostly at dawn or dusk when the air is softer and risks are lower. This timing follows the patterns learned through many generations, like quiet routines shaped by the rhythm of the day. And it offers a sense of life unfolding in gentle alignment with surroundings. Some species create small piles of soil around their entrances that act as rain guards. These raised edges prevent water from flowing directly into tunnels during storms. A simple structure formed grain by grain with steady effort, like a tiny shoreline built to hold back a tide. And the care within this design feels almost tender. Ants also share liquid food directly from mouth to mouth in a process called trophallaxis. This exchange spreads nourishment and chemical information throughout the colony at the same time, like stories passed quietly from one listener to another. And there is something deeply peaceful in imagining sustenance carried through gentle contact. In wide territories, neighboring colonies sometimes establish invisible boundaries defined by scent and repeated patrols. These borders shift slowly as populations grow or shrink, like lines in sand moved by a patient wind. And the earth above remains still while countless quiet negotiations continue below. And the earth above remains still while countless quiet negotiations continue below. Some ants are able to detect changes in air pressure that signal approaching rain. They respond by reinforcing tunnels and adjusting activity before the first drops fall, like listeners who sense distant weather long before clouds gather overhead. And this quiet awareness feels patient and attentive in dense jungles. Certain ants cultivate patches of specific plants by clearing space around them and protecting them from other insects. These plants provide nectar and shelter in return, forming small gardens shaped by steady preference rather than planning, like corners of green carefully tended beneath a wide canopy. And the image rests gently in the mind. Some species form long living chains to pull large prey or objects back to the nest, each ant gripping the one ahead while moving in slow coordination. Strength emerging from connection rather than size, like threads woven together into a single cord. And there is something quietly reassuring in shared effort. Ants can recognize the faint chemical footprint they leave behind hours earlier, allowing them to retrace steps even after trails begin to fade. This ability gives them a sense of recent history carried in scent, like remembering where you walked by the feeling of the path beneath your feet. And it invites a soft reflection on memory held in simple forms, deep within certain nests. Temperature differences between upper and lower chambers create slow air circulation without movement from the ants themselves. Warm air rises and cooler air settles in a continuous exchange, like breath passing through sleeping lungs. And the colony rests within these gentle currents as life proceeds in quiet continuity. And the colony rests within these gentle currents as life proceeds in quiet continuity. Some ants harvest tiny grains of mineral-rich soil and carry them upward to reinforce tunnel walls. This behavior strengthens structures over time without any plan drawn in advance, like builders who shape their homes through steady repetition rather than design. And the patience within this work feels almost meditative. In open deserts, certain ants can tolerate surface temperatures that would be harmful to most other insects. They move quickly across hot sand during brief windows when the predators cannot endure the heat, timing their journeys with remarkable precision, like travelers crossing a warm shore between waves. And the thought of such careful timing carries a quiet sense of awareness. Some colonies maintain small groups of ants whose role is to explore unfamiliar areas beyond known paths. These explorers return with new information carried through scent and movement, gradually expanding the territory of the nest through cautious discovery, like gentle scouts walking ahead of a resting caravan. And this slow expansion feels calm and unhurried. Ants also groom one another regularly to remove dust particles and fungal spores from their bodies. This mutual cleaning reduces illness and keeps sensory organs clear, like a shared ritual performed without thought yet full of purpose. And there is comfort in imagining care expressed through such simple contact. During colder seasons, many ants retreat deeper underground where temperatures remain stable. Activity slows and energy is conserved for long periods, like a quiet pause held beneath the surface of the world. And the colony settles into stillness as time moves gently overhead. And the colony settles into stillness as time moves gently overhead. Some ants are able to estimate the size of food by walking around it before attempting to carry it. This simple inspection helps them decide whether to move it alone or wait for others, like quiet hands measuring an object by touch before lifting. And the patience in this pause feels soft and deliberate. In regions where the ground shifts often, certain ants rebuild collapsed tunnels with remarkable speed using nearby grains of soil. They respond to damage almost immediately through coordinated movement rather than signals from above, like water flowing into a hollow without being told. And there is a calm sense of readiness within this behavior. Some species leave faint chemical markers on returning paths that slowly evaporate over time. The fading of these trails naturally reduces traffic to areas where food has disappeared, like footprints that vanish from a quiet shore after the tide retreats. And this gentle erasing keeps the colony moving toward what is present rather than what is past. Ants also rest in short intervals between periods of activity. These pauses last only moments but occur many times through the day and night, creating a pattern of distributed rest instead of long sleep, like brief stillness between breaths. And the rhythm of this rest feels unhurried and balanced. In wide landscapes, large colonies sometimes connect multiple nests through underground passages, allowing movement between chambers spread across surprising distances, like rooms in a house extended quietly beneath the soil. And life continues within these hidden corridors as countless small journeys unfold beneath the surface. And life continues within these hidden corridors as countless small journeys unfold beneath the surface. Some ants have specialized roles as soldiers with larger mandibles and stronger bodies. They patrol the perimeter of the nest to quietly deter intruders and maintain safety, like gentle guardians standing watch without disturbance. and the thought of protection carried silently brings a calm sense of order. In tropical rainforests, certain ants harvest small seeds and store them in underground chambers where humidity preserves them. These seeds remain a reliable food source over months, like carefully hidden provisions waiting patiently for need. And imagining this foresight feels quietly reassuring. Some ants secrete antimicrobial substances to coat their tunnels and nest surfaces. These natural chemicals reduce the growth of harmful fungi and bacteria, like invisible caretakers gently brushing away unseen threats. And it is comforting to picture such silent maintenance as part of daily life. Ants also practice social thermoregulation. They cluster together to conserve warmth during cool nights and spread out during heat to avoid stress. These movements are subtle and continuous, almost like breathing as a community. And the rhythm of shared adjustment feels peaceful and slow. Across diverse landscapes, ants sometimes form temporary alliances with other species to exploit resources that would be difficult alone. They communicate through scent and movement to coordinate these joint efforts, like neighbors collaborating quietly across garden fences. And the notion of cooperation unfolding gently under the surface invites a reflective sense of harmony. And the notion of cooperation unfolding gently under the surface invites a reflective sense of harmony. Now the movements slow. The tiny journeys beneath the soil quiet one by one. The air feels still and soft. Shadows linger lightly over tunnels and chambers. The scent trails fade into a gentle hush. The rhythm of tiny legs and shared breaths becomes a slow, unbroken calm. Each cluster settles with the weight of simple presence. Warmth and stillness fill the spaces between. Sounds fade into distance. The earth itself seems to exhale quietly. The care in every gesture, every pause, rests now without notice. The tiny guardians, the gentle workers, the explorers tucked safely in hidden rooms, all drift in the same steady quiet. The world above softens as night leans into its own slow heartbeat. A gentle current carries peace through soil and stone. The steady hum of life dims gently, like light passing through leaves at dusk. Thoughts settle one by one. Shadows and warmth fold together. The pulse of the colony slows in harmony with the larger silence. Breath follows its own soft path. Eyelids feel heavier. The mind drifts along invisible trails. The world narrows to gentle shapes and muted sounds. Each movement quiets. Tension fades like dew under a morning sun. The calm spreads slowly through every corner of awareness. Nothing pushes or pulls. Only quiet, soft, slow. The world seems suspended in a tender hush. The colony, the earth, the mind, all rest together. The quiet lingers, lingering, fading gently, softly.